So I'm re-recording the Markdown for the Group 1 example. This is similar to the Group 1 assignment for the R portion. Uh, Again, this is a different data set. So, what we do here is similar, but you'll have to adjust the scripts to support the assignment. But as I'll show you, it shouldn't be that complicated. There's two files you'll be working with here. There's the Markdown file and the script file. Script file is the same as the Markdown, except it's in the old-timey script fashion that some of you might be more familiar with. You can work through either one of them. And just real quick, if you don't know how to open up the Markdown file, you can save it to your downloads. Then you go to File, Open File. You can find, this is the Markdown file here. You click here, you hit Open, and it'll pop open like this. I recommend you use the visual. The source is actually very similar to the script version, slightly different. It still has the chunk commands. But from the visual, you get a lot more out of it running there. And there's a good distinction between what's just text and what is the actual code. So assuming you've run all the packages, everyone has R up and running. That's a different discussion. But you'll need to run these libraries here. Click here. I get a true. Sometimes I get false. It works either way, which is great. And then we're going to bring in, I have a sample file created, sample CSV. You can download that to your working directory. If it's in your working directory, then you can just hit load, and it'll actually open the file so you can see what is in here. Again, this is different. The headings and data looks different than what's in the group assignment, but this is just, again, to get your skills up to par so you can do the group assignment. So the first thing we're going to do, we've downloaded the data. You can see it's over here. In fact, I'm going to clear that just so you can see. You just hit the broom. You'll see brooms everywhere. That's to clean it out. So the environment is empty, starting from scratch. We download the file. There's a sample.df. Let me close that out, even though it's probably good to leave it open, but because you might want to refer back to it. I'll be clicking on it. And then, so files loaded. And then I'd get familiar with the code. This is a mutate function where we're creating some variables. The column header is going to be max ed, so maximum education, and we're using an if-else statement, which is part of the tidyverse. It's like an if-then in Excel. It's if this, or if this is right, then do this. In this case, it's using education as the column, and just to show you again, here's education. Here, number of years of education. So it's using if-else for the education column. If it's less than or equal to 9, put 1.gradeschool. If-else, so it's usually if education is less than 9, give this. If not, then you do this. And we have an embedded if-else statement. So it's another if-else. If education is less than 12, then high school. And then the else, in this case, everything else is going to be 3 or more than high school. So everything will be above 12 because we have those 3 captured. You don't have to put the range because in this case, if it's less than 9, it gets captured here. What remains then gets run against the next if else if it's less than 12. So 9's already pulled out, less than 9. So now anything less than 12 is pulled out. Everything left over is going to be above 12, which is more than high school. And then we're going to drop it into a ggplot. Ggplot we'll spend a little more time with just to get familiar with the code. It's super slick. You bring in the sample.df. You identify the aesthetics. And that's really defining what's on the X or the Y column. In this case, we're just doing the X, which is max education. I like that the way this code works is you always put plus because you're saying for ggplot, this database, this aesthetic, and theme classic, and in this case we're doing a geometric bar, G on bar, and the plus sign, and then we assign information. So the labels, Y on the label is equal to people, the title, education levels, you just type that in, and then the theme of the plot title is the theme is just where you're defining the plot title. This centers the plot title, which is a good way to go. You click and run it. Here you go. That's exactly what's been defined. You can see if you make a change here. Let's say make that lowercase and just say education level. If I run that again, you'll see education level. We're just really controlling the elements that are within the chart. And then just to show you within the script, you can find the similar code. We already ran this. You could run it again if you wanted, but we already ran it. So we're just going to get the bar chart here and to create a plot. And then you highlight the code and control enter, and then here's the plot over here. It gives you a little more functionality because it can pop out and you can adjust the size as you want to for wherever you're dropping it. The letters might, too small may not be great, but it's nice. It's nice to have it in this form and fashion. Then it's in your plots. You'll have all your graphs there in your plots. But going through it again, I'd get familiar with the code. That's going to be critical in making the adjustments. This one, you can see I ran it already, but this is using the column chart and adding color to scale as I run that. And I got to make sure it's because I go back and forth to plots, it'll keep the plots open. But here's the gender break. If you remember from the Titanic, this was survivors and non-survivors, ones and zeros. And then here you could see grade school, high school, and more than high. If you notice, I put numbers in front. The reason is that forces it. It's either going to be alphabetical automatically or numerical. And I put a number in front because it's easier to force that. There is a technique for creating column orders that we're going to cover on Monday as part of the bakery Markdown. So this is actually where we're categorizing individuals. So similar to what we did before with the if else, we're going to do the height of the people. So inches tall is a column that we're creating, and we're going to create the values for each entry there with another if else statement. So if the inches are less than 60, again with the number 1.short. If else inches are greater than 70 or less than or equal to 70, 2.medium, and then all the rest of these are going to be 3.tall, so they'll be tall. And again, it's short, medium, tall. And then we're creating another one with and I have house color here. So for the people that, and this one is interesting because it's 3 different columns. If you look here at the sample datum, so green, blue, yellow, and it's binary. It's all either zeros or 1. We're creating a column called house color. So if the house color is green, it's equal to 1. And the equal sign, since it's a number, before we just, I'm sorry, the 1 is a factor. So you have to use a equal sign versus just the standard measure. So green is equal to 1, you put a G. If the next if is blue is equal to 1, and then we're using a different column for this one. So the first one was green, which is 0 or 1. But if green is 1, it's not going to be any of the other colors. So if green is 1, you have G in the column. If not, you go on to the next one. If blue is 1, you put a B in the column. And if not, you go on to the next one. If yellow is 1, you put a Y in the column. And if none of those 3 apply, then it just drops in a 0. And we're going to create this. And inches tall, and you'll see here this is the file that we're working with, sample df, inches tall right here, and then house color here. So we have two new columns that we can work with for our visuals. And here's the first one we'll drop in. You run the chunk. Again, this is a ggplot. It's standard ggplot with the aesthetic. You assign what you want for the x value. It's always nice to drop in classic theme. You can run it without it. It's a geometric bar, very basic, and then the labels. And you typically put in this theme to make sure the plot's centered or the title's centered. And there it is. So you can run. So um, if I were to hashtag this, that means it identifies it as not being code. I can run it, and you see this is the standard plot that comes back, with the boxes and the gray background. But if you run it as the theme as classic, there's a whole bunch of different themes. You see, it makes it a nice clean chart. And then we're going to create a histogram for the weight distribution. And again, it's the same type of pattern. The ggplot sample.df is the database. The aesthetics is pounds. X equals pounds. And, which is the plus sign. The theme is classic, my favorite. And it's a geometric histogram. Before we did geometric bar, this is geometric histogram. And there's some things you have to define. So you have the bandwidth, which is 10. That means the bin width, which is 10. That means the range will be in tens. Then you can assign the color. So color is white, which is the shape of the bar, the exterior of the bar, so the border. And then the fill, in this case, is turquoise. And it's nice to put in case there are any NAs, which there's not in this data, but you can put NA equals true. Then the plus sign, which is and then this is just a hashtag to give you information about what you're doing next. This is the labels, so the X, you're going to define them. Again, we've done this for all of them, but the labels is Y is the people count, X is pounds, bin width equals to 10. It's nice to put that in the label. And the title is weight distribution, and then we just center the title. You can run that. Here you go. And again, we're doing the same thing. This is for a box plot. You can do a horizontal or you can do vertical. The only difference is the horizontal, you have Y first and then X. And then the vertical, you have X first and then Y. And the horizontal, it has two different, you can plot two different variables, columns. So in this case, we're doing annual income in inches. The rest is still, it follows pretty much the same in terms of how you define the labels and the theme. But here you go, the two box plots. Hopefully this runs just as smooth for you. And I think this is the last one. This is just creating a line. I'm going to take this dashed out. Because I don't think it actually makes it a little, yeah. So you see it just said comma line equals dashed, and that gives you the dashed line. It's a little cleaner this way. And then this is the labels, labs, the title, the x-axis, and the y-axis. And that's it. And then to do the same in scripting, in the script code, let me see how I get out of here. Come on, there you go. Yeah, so just to do the same in script, the script, if you've run it already in, if it's been run already in Markdown, you don't have to load all this. It's all out with the same operating system. The data's still here. You can see we still have everything loaded over here. And then, you can go right to running the code. In this case, the first one we're going to run, we already have the plot that we ran. I must have cleared it out, but here, if you want to run the original bar chart, you highlight the code, then Control Enter. There's your bar chart. This is creating those two, the male-female break, and then in this case, the education gender break. So we don't have to do that again. And this has already been done, which is the mutate that we added the column for inches tall. So from this point, we can actually, here I didn't do this one, sorry. Control Enter, this is the bar chart, the color breaks for male-female. And this one for inches tall, and then house color, and then here's where we run this one. Control Enter. There's the height it's the height of the group by broken out by height group. And then this one, this is the histogram. You highlight the code, Control Enter. It's over here. And then these are I can probably run them both. It'll run both. And the thing with R, you can select as much code as you want to run. I could really just go through and run all of these if I wanted to and be done with it. But here you can see it created 2, and you'll just see the last one. And then this is the line chart. So this is already created. I know I don't have to run that. You can see I can highlight the title because it'll ignore it with the hashtag or hash mark, and then Control Enter. And then, so I have all of the visuals, and they're all here in the plot. You can pop it out, as I showed before, adjust the size, and then do a clip, a screen capture if you wanted to. So highlight the space that you need. There's a way you can, unfortunately it's not a Windows-friendly type copy and paste. That's probably the easiest way, but you could also right mouse click and save image, or link to the image. But anyways, you can see all of the images are here under plots. And these are the images that you would then need to put into your final group report. There is an Excel portion that we can probably talk a little bit about that on Monday or Wednesday. But this is the R part that I know is a little more daunting, and make sure you're comfortable with it. So that's it. Thank you.